Hey y'all, thanks for stopping by. Just wanted to share this quick little tutorial on this mini gnome that I made using things that I had on hand here while in quarantine. And I was inspired when one of my light bulbs went out, and I thought, I'm sure that I can come up with something to create with this old garbage light bulb. I've listed all materials needed to create this down below in the description. The first thing I wanted to do was create the gnome's feet. This is where the light bulb is going to stand up on. So in case you didn't want to just hang it and you wanted to sit it on a tray or somewhere for decor, I made the feet to hold the light bulb upright. I went ahead and took the Model Magic clay and rolled it into a ball, which then I moved 2 balls to squish it down. That's going to create the feet, and this is going to take about 24 hours to dry. So this is the first thing I did, and then just set it aside until it's ready to be painted. The next thing I did was I wanted to get all of my pieces that needed painting out of the way so that they had time to dry. So first thing I painted was the light bulb. I chose a gray color. It's just acrylic paint, and I used a foam brush to apply 2 coats of paint onto the light bulb. So the next thing I did was paint the gnome's nose. I found these little foam vase fillers at the Dollar Tree, and these were left over from a previous project that I did. And so I just found the biggest size ball and I cut it almost in half. So that way it would sit flush on the light bulb once I glued it. And then I stuck it on this toothpick so it would be easier to hold. I felt like a genius when I thought of that. And then I just painted it this flesh colored acrylic paint. I went ahead and did this with 2 different size balls. I wasn't sure which one I would choose, but I went with the bigger sized one because I feel like the gnome just looks so cute with this big old schnoz. While everything is drying, I went ahead and made my little gnome a hat. This Dollar Tree blanket is in the baby section. It's just a little fleece blankie. And what I did was I measured 7 inches long across and folded it in half, and then went ahead and cut a long triangle out. You can make your gnome hat as long as you want. Mine's about 12 inches long. From there, you're just going to take your hot glue gun and do a line of glue down one side of the triangle. Do this in little bit by bit increments so it's not too hard to fold over. And you're going to just do down one entire side of your triangle. Once your glue is completely dried, go ahead and turn the hat inside out, and then you're just going to roll up the bottom edges a couple of times. Now this was 24 hours later. My little base of the gnome, which are his shoes, have dried. So I chose black. You could use whatever color you'd like. It's just black acrylic paint, and I'm just going to go ahead and give that a nice coat and let that dry before I glue the gnome onto it. Now this was my trickiest part of the entire task, was just creating his beard. I didn't have any faux fur, but I did have this furry little rope string thing. So what I did was kind of like when you make a tassel, you wrap it around, or a pom-pom. I wrapped it around my hand, and then I took another piece of the string and made a loop through all of my loops and tied it at the top in a very tight knot. And this will kind of just create a gathered bunch of the string, and you can go ahead and cut out each of your loops to make a beard. Okay, now my gnome is ready to be assembled. I just hot glued my beard onto the light bulb. I ended up going in and just gluing every little piece down so that it didn't get all crazy, but just string by string, I just glued in place once I had it laid out to how I wanted it. And with the beard, I just kind of trimmed and glued and trimmed and glued, kind of like I took him to the barber shop and just wanted to make him look perfect. Now, I found his beard was a little bit more bushier than I had anticipated. So instead of cutting off the string where it would then leave it kind of like blotchy looking, I just simply lifted the hair up, or the string up, and then glued it around the top of the light bulb. I knew that I was going to put the hat over it, so I wasn't concerned about it showing, but I just twisted it and then hot glued it into place on the top of the bulb, so that way I would have the desired amount of beard fringe, as you'll say, that I thought looked best. Then it was time to fit his hat onto him and glue the nose into place. Once his nose was secured, then I went ahead and hot glued a little bit above his nose so that his hat would fall just over and kind of around the edges a little bit. And then you can go ahead and hot glue his hat down in the back so it stays put. And you could put it as low or as high as you'd like. I think it looks cute, a little bit droopy in the back. And now I'm just kind of going to go around and glue more pieces of his beard down so that way he looks freshly groomed and everything is in place. Now, if you want this gnome to be able to be hung somewhere, or if you just like the look of this, I went ahead and folded his hat over onto the side, just added a little bead of hot glue and held it in place to dry. And that created a little loop that I could hang this on, maybe make it an ornament on a tree for Christmas time, or just on display if I didn't want to have him standing upright. Now the last thing to do is go ahead and glue on his base, his little feet. I used E6000 glue for this process. I wasn't sure if the hot glue would hold as good as I'd like. So I just did a bead of the E6000 and placed my light bulb gnome where I wanted him. And then I propped him up in the exact position so that it would give it a little bit of time to fully dry. And that's it, we're done. Thank y'all so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this little craft of my DIY light bulb gnome, and I hope you're finding yourself safe and healthy and enjoying making the best of this time. We are in quarantine. We are all in this together, and I appreciate you guys. Please like and subscribe to my channel, and have a wonderful day. Bye.